Well, great. Well, it's great to see a good turnout this month. So I'll kick us off. My name's Tom Kittredge. I manage MxG on behalf of MTI. I'm going to just give my little MxG spiel, and then we'll do introductions for anybody who's new to the group or who hasn't been in a while. So if you fall in that category, be prepared to give a quick 1 minute, or not 1 minute, one sentence description of who you are. But first, my spiel, which is what MxG is. So Maine Accelerates Growth is a statewide network of organizations and individuals that support entrepreneurs and innovators to scale in Maine and beyond. We believe that a vibrant, inclusive innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem will result in a more abundant, equitable, and sustainable economy and make Maine a great place to live, work, and play. We work together to share expertise, seek best practices, and to address systems gaps. We promote the successes of Maine startups and entrepreneur support organizations and collaborate to attract talent and inspire innovation. So that's my little intro. So I'd love if anybody here is either new to the group or hasn't been in a while. If you just want to, toss up a hand either virtually or in person, and just name, organization, and if there's anything else important to mention. So I'm looking to see hands. I see Ariadne. Go ahead, and then Amy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ariadne. Thank you so much, Tom, for having such a great resource here. This is my first time, so I'm excited to learn more. I'm Ariadne Dimoula. I am the CEO of P3rd Earth. We make packaging that is ocean compostable and fish friendly, and I'm going to be giving a short presentation later this call.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Let's see, Amy, did you want to go?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Fisher. I'm working with Zero Energy Homes with Caroline Pryor, a couple boxes below me. We are building zero energy homes and targeting low and moderate income buyers.
Welcome. Thanks so much, Amy. And yeah, Caroline, that makes sense for you to go next.
Hi, it's nice to be back. I recognize many faces and nice to see some new ones. So we are going to do a pitch, I think, in a few months, but in a nutshell, we're hiring our first vice president of manufacturing operations, thanks to a Prime 2 COVID grant from MTI. We completed a first round capital raise last year, and the first demonstration house is scheduled to be done in May in Searsport. So nice to be here. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, welcome. Anybody else new to the group or go ahead, Jan?
Yeah, sorry, it's Jean, but the spelling
Jean,
is
sorry, Jean.
serious sometimes for folks. So I'm Jean Christie. I'm on Congresswoman Pingree's staff, and this is always on my schedule, but I seem to always have conflicts. So today there was no conflict, and my job is to know what Mainers think, worry about, feel, need help with, and communicate that back to our office and the Congresswoman. So I'm here to listen.
Great, thank you. It's amazing to have you. And George, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess you'll all hear from me in a little while, but I think I only know a small percentage of the folks on this call. I'm George, building a software company. I live in Kennebunk. I've been here once before in this call, I think, to talk about the networking group I set up called Nexus Maine. Yeah, I guess I'll tell you more stuff in a little bit.
Eric, and then Gage.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Weidman. I'm with the Office of Business Development with the state DECD. I've got a varied background in small business ownership as well as working for the state in the Office of Apprenticeship. So I'm happy to get plugged in with anyone on workforce issues as well as general business development. And I'll be speaking just a little bit about some of our updates.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, looking forward to that presentation. Gage, go ahead.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you. I first time here. I'm here because of George and Nexus and Katie Shorey. I see you on the call too. Hey Katie. I live in North Yarmouth. I am an independent consultant right now. I'm advising a tech AI social startup out of California, but super excited to just sort of be here and hear from folks, especially George, and see where this goes.
Awesome. And I see that Sonia made an introduction to the chat. She's having some tech issues, but she is the co-founder of AI Charm Lab and founder of the Tech Margin. Looking to see any last hands. Go ahead, Tara.
Hi, everybody. You'll hear from me in a little bit as well, but my name's Terra Dunham, and I work at the Roux Institute's ClimateTech Incubator, and presenting with Ariadne in a little bit.
Great. And I think that's everyone. Well, awesome. Well, it's great to see so many new faces, and thank you all for joining. So normally I kick it off with updates from MTI, but I don't actually have very many this month. Emily Braley is going to be giving our kind of most exciting update momentarily, so I'll leave that for her. The one thing I did want to mention is it's been about a year and a half since I took over leading MxG, and I've kind of reached a point where I'd love to get feedback from the group on how these meetings are structured. So I'm going to be sending out a survey to everybody who's on our email list. Basically just asking for format on the structure of the meetings, presentations, how frequently we meet, when we meet, kind of everything. So just a plug to, as we're going today, kind of pay attention to what works well and what doesn't work well, and any sort of feedback you might have, because I'd love to figure out how to make this meeting as valuable as possible for this group. And that's all I have for MTI. So I'm going to turn it over to Eric at DCD to give a brief update on their end.
Sure. So for anyone kind of new, our department is actually the smallest state department, but has probably one of the biggest reach in the state. And what we do is we help support business growth, development, community engagement, as well as development, everything from outdoor rec to film and tourism. But my particular office, we work directly with business owners to really expand the Maine brand, to kind of spur more development and investment, recruit new businesses, and expand existing. So we work with everyone from your first-time startup entrepreneur, someone who's just considering their business plan and they're trying to get some answers, to large corporations that look to develop further. Couple of interesting developments recently. This calendar year, we just launched a new state incentive, and that is the Dirigo Business Incentives. And I'm going to post the link right here in the chat for you all. It's something you might have already heard about previously, but what's new is that there's a new tax incentives calculator for businesses. And sort of like we did with the Pine Tree Development Zone previously, businesses can punch in their requisite information and find out what the potential savings, tax rebates obviously are always going to be something of crucial value to businesses. It kind of spans everything from capital improvements to workforce development and training programs. So that's what's going on with Dirigo, and that's the new premier incentive statewide. The second opportunity is to really kind of showcase the types of innovation that we can see in the outdoor economy. So I think most of you have heard already, and I believe previously my colleagues shared about the 10-year outdoor economy roadmap, which launched. We did have a large gathering up in Millinocket at NEOC, and I'm sure you've all been there or want to go there. So we had a great launch. A lot is happening on the outdoor economy, and it's just about creating sustainable growth, taking one of the treasured Maine resources and finding a way to expand. So that's something you can sign up on the website. I'll throw that into the chat as well. If you just want to get updates and find out what's happening or read the roadmap, this way you have a sense of what's to come. And there will be some breakout groups that are happening and some individual planning in the next 2 months. And then my final kind of update for this month will be on what's actually one of my personal projects on the team, and that's to support businesses directly with market research and market data. So let's say you're working with a business owner and they want to expand, or they're thinking about getting into a new market. We can pull market data reports and we can provide that in a tailored form to business owners. And so we have a direct contact on our website. And what we do is gather up that information, provide those resources to ideally help that business thrive. And so those are some of the updates that are happening with DECD. And I look forward to connecting with any and all of you as needed. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Any questions on any of that for Eric?
Tom, may I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Katie.
Eric, are there any certain qualifiers or qualifications that the company would need to have in order for you to do the research? Because I can imagine you might get inundated. So I'm just wondering if there's a list or a checklist they have to hit.
It's actually in very open-ended form. I don't think a lot of businesses have seen it yet. We haven't been inundated. It does take a little bit of time to gather up the research And then we have two different database platforms that we can pull from. And there are some customizations. So I can do sort of like a snapshot tool for that business, but then it can kind of get really deep in there for them. Let's say they're looking at occupations, or they want to really kind of focus in on Cumberland County and see what their competitors might be doing in that field. There is also a potential to have really in-depth report from one of our partners. Those are kind of saved for the larger businesses that might be doing some major expansion. So to answer your question, there really isn't a threshold. So I'm happy just to help any business or potential business owner who just wants to find out what the market's like. Thanks, Katie.
Just a quick question, Tom, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Eric, what platform are you guys using for the market research? Is it Vertical IQ, BRG? What's your
neither. We're using Lightcast and IBIS World.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Yep.
And Katie, I know you were going to give a very quick update, if you can keep it like a minute, on Startup Maine.
Sure thing, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Startup Maine Week is back this year, May 19 through 22. I like to describe it as a flurry of entrepreneurial activity that's happening in Portland, but we're featuring partners from Aroostook Partnership, Northern Maine Development Corporation, to MTI, Maine Venture Fund, Gulf of Maine Research Institute, the Roux Institute. So all the players are participating in the week, which is amazing. The agenda is not fully done yet, but so if you have questions about that, please reach out. But we will be starting to promote very heavily, and I'm excited that we're going to kick off. The Roux Institute has their founder residency portfolio showcase, and so that will be the kickoff on May 19th. We have night events, we have coffee meetups, we have programming, we have lunches, we have evening events, happy hours. So it will just be a ton of activity. Again, that's May 19 through 22. Sign up for our newsletter, startupmaine.org, to receive updates. And of course, I can be reached if you have any questions in the meantime. So there's my plug. Thank you.
And Katie, I know you said the schedule is still being developed. Are there still opportunities for people who might have a panel idea to reach out to you, or are you pretty much booked for the schedule?
No, we have a bit of room, specifically especially for ecosystem players, and then I think I would take some ideas for folks who are specifically focused on helping companies that are going to be in the growth mindset or scaling. I'm happy to share the agenda with folks just to see if there are any holes or gaps. And again, there's SCORE, and there's a lot of programming that exists around the state year round. You know, SCORE, they do a lot of the 101. I would say the conference is more focused on that 201, 301 type of programming. So it's like a level up, and it's really geared toward, I would say, scalable, growth-oriented companies.
Great, thanks, Katie. Yeah, I imagine a lot of folks here have your contact info, but if not, do you want to post it in the chat? Great, amazing. Well, thank you, Katie. So we'll kick it off to our first presenter, who is Emily Braley.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. I'm just going to try and share my screen if that's okay, because I have a little presentation.
Yes, let me make sure. Yep, you should be good to go now.
Awesome. Okay.
And Emily, I'm going to put a timer up on my screen for, let's say, 9 minutes. So, you know, if you want to aim to take 5 to 6 minutes or so on your presentation, and then just leave a few minutes left for questions and answers at the end.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. That is perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Braley, and I am the coordinator of MTI's Maine Entrepreneurial Resource Corps, or MERC program. And I'm very excited to be sharing a new addition to the MERC program, MERC AI, which we plan to launch in March of 2025. I want to start this presentation just briefly covering why MERC AI. I think at this point, the productivity gains from implementing AI at a business and individual level are well documented. Businesses report significant time savings and cost savings, and those effects seem to increase as a business further integrates AI into their operations. And we at MTI wanted to make sure that Maine businesses have the opportunity to realize these productivity benefits and remain competitive in this rapidly changing tech environment. We also saw the opportunity to encourage new innovation as a business develops a baseline understanding of AI and begins to see what's possible with this technology. And when we surveyed MTI businesses to understand if this was actually something they were interested in, 99.5% said yes, but we need resources and we need education on how to get started, which is what sparked the MERC AI program. And our goal, very broadly through this program, is to make AI practical and accessible for Maine businesses. But more specifically through this initiative, we want to close the AI knowledge gap by educating businesses on how they can safely and effectively incorporate AI into their operations. And how we're going to do this is through partnering with Coursera to offer businesses free access to Coursera's new generative AI course catalog. Businesses can apply for up to 3 licenses for 3 to 5 months. So in these 3 to 5 months, up to 3 employees or founder or co-founders can take an unlimited number of courses through Coursera's generative AI program. And we also hope to share use cases from businesses that have successfully utilized the MERC AI program to inspire more companies so we can all learn together and help each other understand how to apply this new technology. A little bit of information about Coursera if you are unfamiliar with them. They are an online education platform that offers more than 10,000 courses, accredited courses from businesses and universities. And they recently launched a new generative AI program that has 350 and growing courses, since this is such a hot topic right now, from Microsoft, IBM, Google, UPenn, MIT, etc. And their offerings range from very basic introductory courses to more industry-specific uses. I've just pulled a couple course examples from their website, and you can see in the middle they have Google AI Essentials just to help businesses dip their toes into what AI is, as well as some more specific courses like AI for marketing and grant writing and generative AI for automated financial reporting, which is something I would want to take advantage of if I was a business. I also want to briefly cover uses for MERC AI, who it's for, and also who it is not for. This program was created for organizations that are new to using AI or potentially have already used it on a casual level but are looking to deepen and broaden their use. It is not for businesses that have built an AI-driven product or want to build an AI-driven product. This is a bit too sophisticated for what Coursera has to offer. But if a company is interested in this, they might be a better fit for one of MTI's other programs. I see I'm almost at 5 minutes, so I'm just going to try and skim through these last 2 slides. To be eligible for this support, a business must be eligible or meet MTI's standard eligible criteria, which are listed on this slide, but also on our website if you're interested in diving a bit deeper into these criteria. And then finally, if you are a business and you want to take advantage of this program, you can start by submitting an interest form through MTI's website, which is our standard process. Then you can fill out a one-time application through the MERC portal just to assess eligibility. And then if the application is approved, we will send the company and their employees their credentials to log into Coursera, and then you can start learning from there. This program is still in development, so there are some details that might shift or change, but I hope this gives you a foundation for understanding what we're trying to do through this program and how to get started once it's launched. So please keep an eye on MTI's newsletter, as that is where we will be announcing the final program, and it will also be up on our website as well. And I think that is about time.
Thanks so much, Emily. And I imagine we have some questions. I saw Peter posted in the chat saying this looks like a great resource for small businesses. Can you provide a link where folks can sign up? So just to clarify, it hasn't launched quite yet, but it's imminent. And when it is launched, we will be broadcasting it via all of our different platforms. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Perfect.
And do we have a rough timeline of when it's likely to go live?
Hopefully, so we have the Coursera licenses, everything is ready there. There's just some operational things we need to work through on MTI's end. So we're hoping mid to late March is when we will at least start trialing this program and piloting it.
Great, thanks, Emily. Other questions for Emily? And I can't see everybody's hands, so if you do have a question, feel free to just come off mute or do a virtual. Joe, I saw you come off mute just now.
Hi, Emily. I have a quick question about did all the ARPA money run out and now MERC is back to MTI type sector stuff, or is it open still to?
Awesome question, Joe. Yes. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. Yes, we have run out of our ARPA money through the domestic trade program. So now MERC is now funding MTI eligible businesses exclusively. But that's the standard MERC program.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thanks, Joe. Any other questions? Just to contextualize Joe's question for folks who might not be aware, so Maine Entrepreneurial Resource Corps, folks should check it out on our website, but it's a resource for businesses located in Maine who are interested in hiring consultants for short-term projects. And when it was originally funded, it was funded through ARPA money, and it was very broad in what sort of businesses it can serve. And the ARPA money is running out, so it's now funded with MTI funding, which means we have to abide by our statute, which means it's specifically for those 7 technology sectors and with the innovation component. So that's kind of the slight transition that's taken place, is the eligibility for MERC has become a little more narrow to be more in line with the sorts of businesses MTI works with. Did I capture that right, Emily?
That was perfect, Tom. Thank you for clarifying.
And Abby, I see you have a question.
Yeah, Emily, I would like to find out concerning the AI courses. Does a company has a limitation of the number of courses they can take with this, or is it that every company can just take one course at a time? Like, how does it work in terms of limitation?
That's an excellent question, Abby. Thank you for covering that. So we have no course limitations. A business can take an unlimited number of courses within the confines of their license duration. So we're determining if that's 3 to 5 months. We'll have more information when the program launches, but within that time frame, a business can take as many courses as they want. We do have some required courses that we'd like businesses to take based on their familiarity and with AI, particularly around privacy and data and ethical use of AI. But other than that, businesses have unlimited access to that course catalog. That was a great question.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Emily. If you want to just post your contact info in the chat, then if folks have follow-up questions, they can shoot you an email.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, next up, Terra, were you going to kick it off and then transition over to Ariadne? Okay. We'll go ahead, and I'm just going to reset the timer.
Awesome. I'm going to try and share my screen as well. Great. Can everybody see my screen? Perfect. Hi again, my name is Tara, and I work for Northeastern University's Roux Institute here in Portland, Maine, on our new initiative called the ClimateTech Incubator. So just to take a step back, in case you're not familiar with the Roux Institute, we are primarily a graduate school for data and AI and other technical degrees, and we have kind of a threefold platform how we're helping the state of Maine. So our mission is to help with economic development with the state of Maine. And we do that through talent development of our students. We do that through partnering with other organizations to help upskill their staff through training, connect them with our talent, and then through entrepreneurship. So starting new businesses that will eventually hire the talent that we're producing, create additional jobs and grow the Maine economy. So I work in the entrepreneurship department. We have multiple programs, and I'm happy to connect you or with the appropriate person or give any more information that anyone would be interested in. But I'm going to specifically talk about our newest initiative, which is the ClimateTech Incubator, which officially launched last September. So we're just a few months in. Well, let's see if, okay. So here are our current 18 member organizations. So these are startups in climate tech, and that can range from food and ag tech to building optimization to carbon credits, to carbon dioxide removal, and so on and so forth. So many different types of organizations are featured. But imagine that you are one of the smart, brilliant people here in Maine, and you have an idea, you care about the climate, and you want to make a difference. How can you tap into the resources available in the state to make sure that you can grow a world-class tech company here in the state? We've got great resources for small businesses. There's lots of resources here, but starting a giant tech company or starting a company that can grow into a giant tech company, you need a lot of help. You need resources, you need talent, etc. So what we have done here in the ClimateTech Incubator is created a space where we can help develop those companies into something amazing in a way that we can compete with New York, Boston, Silicon Valley, etc. So at the Roux, we offer physical workspace so people can come work out of the ClimateTech Incubator, because presumably startups don't have an office, and it's way more collaborative to work with a like-minded group. Through that, you also have really close access to a mentor network, advisors, other startups, the entrepreneurial program, our researchers, our faculty, and all of our amazing partners throughout the state, many of whom are on the call today. We offer community programming as well to get other people interested in climate and climate tech and startups. And I'm not going to go through all of my slides, but we're a very small team here at the Roux, but we have a lot of resources available to offer. So we have an advisory committee of industry experts. We have experts and residents who also work out of the Roux to support these organizations. And like I said, amazing ecosystem partners. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ariadne, who is one of our startup members in the incubator, to tell you a little bit more about her business and her story.
Thank you so much, Tara. Huge fan of the Roux. My background, I'll start with, let me get my slide teed up, and I'd love slideshow. Can you guys see my slides? Okay, great. I saw a lot of head shaking. So a huge fan of the Roux. Let me just start out there. I am a marine scientist, a blue tech innovator, now entrepreneur. I've been working in the blue tech development space for going on a decade now. Exciting stuff. I jumped over from more sonar development and from algorithm development into a material design space. And my background with the Roux is I started as one of the companies in their founder residency program last year, and then was so excited when I was accepted to join into the accelerator program, the ClimateTech Accelerator Program, because I love having the resources in my state to be able to grow the company that we have been developing for. We officially incorporated in 2019, and that was because in my career, I was seeing, no matter how impactful we were making the algorithm to prevent disruptions for the migrational patterns of the animals in the area, globally, all animals and all humans were facing a glut of toxic trash. And it's not only everywhere, we now are knowing it's in everything. It is starting to show into our bodies, in our air, and thankfully, we are starting to, as a global society, we are starting to see issues that is with this paradigm of having our trash enter our environment and enter us So there are some bans that are coming into play, which is exciting for the industry. In fact, in Maine, we have a ban on PFAS coming into play, and now PFAS are a type of chemical that is used to grease-proof. So this, for example, this type of fiber-based packaging might have PFAS on it in order to preserve it from the contact of the greasy food. And that PFAS can get into the food and can get into our bodies. And then we are also seeing an issue of bioplastics coming in to replace regular plastics. Unfortunately, we're seeing that bioplastics are much the same as regular plastics. They do not dissolve in the environment. They fraction just like regular plastic does. And if it's found in landfills, it actually will release methane. So I was seeing as a scientist that there was an issue that wasn't being addressed. And that was that we are making our packaging so that it has a negative effect at the end of life. And we are redesigning it with the end of life in mind, as well as keeping these performance requirements, such as the feel, such as the grease proof, in the center of focus, because you can make a product, but if the people don't like it, it will not get adopted, which unfortunately we have seen with plastic straws back and forth. Our team that amassed is a group of highly skilled scientists and engineers. My background is marine science, blue tech innovation. I forgot to start my timer. I'm so sorry. So I'll wrap this up. I think I have it there. So my co-founder is a pulp and paper chemical engineer, and we have hired some excellent scientists to help bring our packaging to full scale. Huge fans of MTI. They help provide us bridge funding between our phase 1 and phase 2 National Science Foundation Small Business Innovative Research grants. Also worked with the Roux Institute right there. As you can see, huge supporter of ours. And the products that we've been able to make are a type of cellulose-based material. We're calling it ELE just because it's wood-based cellulose. Microfibrils is a little bit of a mouthful. So ELE means wood-based matter. It's an ancient Greek term that's still used today. And our specialty has been able to mold it into these useful products. The benefit is that it retains that plastic feel and performance while being paper stream recyclable, backyard compostable. We've been saying ocean compostable, fish friendly, which is a methodology that we're developing to ensure that our material is in fact has no unintended consequences. And we're opening it up to our collaborators and anybody in our anybody in our ecosystem to help ensure that to test if their products are in fact ocean compostable and fish friendly. We want to do it here in Maine, and we love the support that these companies and all the organizations here on this call are helping provide. We absolutely need it. Don't underestimate every little bit that you've supported towards us. MERC has also, I want to give a plug, MERC has definitely helped us along the way. And here's my contact information without 20 seconds to spare. So please reach out. My call today is my call to action is if you have a company that is interested in doing better with their materials, if you're interested in finding out more, please reach out.
Awesome. Thank you, Ariadne. And thanks, Tara, before that. Just in the interest of time, I might suggest that if folks have questions, they just post it in the chat. But Tara, I did want to ask, and I might have missed this, are you planning to run another version of the Climate Tech Founder Residency in the future? And if so, if we know companies who might be interested, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tom. I'm typing up something to that effect in the chat right now. We are actually different from the founder residency in that we are not like a time-bound cohort base. We're a membership organization. So it's as long as an organization, as long as a startup would need to be part or want to be part of the Climate Tech Incubator, they could be. So our applications are reviewed and accepted as space allows on a rolling basis. And we are actively recruiting to try and find other companies like Ariadne's to support and engage with. So I'll put my contact information in the chat and would love to hear from anybody who has an idea, a business, or just really invested in this climate tech topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, and folks might have seen Katie posted in the chat, but there's a Startup Maine / Climate Tech Incubator networking event. When is that? Next Tuesday in Waterville? Great. Well, let's move on to the next presenter, who is George. George, take it away.
Let me take over. Can we all see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
It's not in slide. It's in, we can see your browser, but
Yeah, I guess I might as well hit full screen. This is me repurposing my fundraising deck, so bear with me if any of this seems a little funky. But ultimately, I guess I'll tell you a little about myself. I've been in Maine for like 19, 20 months. I was in San Francisco before that. I grew up in New York, but been in and around tech for the last 6, 7 years since college. I guess I'm 6 weeks, end of 6 weeks into starting my own company here. It's called Braley. And I'm going to assume no one here has too much context on the property management industry, but that is what we're building in. Our vision is basically make it easy to do your job as a property manager. Jargon aside, it's a world full of a bunch of annoying tools, none of which work very well together. We are trying to fix that problem. Market is gigantic. There is concentration in the large end of the market, which we will actually try to be selling into. About 19% of the US housing stock, apartment stock, is concentrated in the top 50 managers, but there are 326,000 other companies really to sell to. So huge market, growing, a lot of opportunity. One of the industry's biggest issues is employee turnover. 30 to 40% is the site level expectation. Leasing agents are closer to 30, maintenance techs are closer to 40. And these are people that are constantly trained and retrained, often just on how to use software. All of our design partners and early customers have basically said they have full-time staff just dedicated to answering help tickets about how to do your job in the property management system. So tons of waste. Also, lawsuits cause giant problems in this industry right now. If you see RealPage getting sued and Greystar getting sued, rent fixing, all of that, there's a big cost associated with not doing your job correctly. And leasing agents actually bear the brunt of that because they're the ones making sure they have the right copy of the lease and the right pricing pasted in there. If we can make it so those people make fewer mistakes, we're very much worth the price of admission. Current software, this is just illustrative of the mess that exists in the industry. But the Band-Aid to all of this kind of mess right now is just so much money flowing into training and hiring. But instead, we would like to make it so you don't need to be trained on the software to use the software. It's 2025. You should be able to understand how to use it. We are this middle layer integrating with all core systems of record in the industry, all training tools. And we want to live, yes, in our own web app, but also in every communication medium that the company is comfortable with. It is rare to find a maintenance tech at these companies that wants to use a random iPhone app or whatever. They'll gladly call something or text something. Leasing agents feel like they have login fatigue. They have too many tabs up on their computers. We would love to get rid of all those tabs and be the home base where you do all of your work. So the wedge we're starting in is just-in-time training. We're the thing that you have access to when you have, issues and need questions answered. We'd like to go into the training direction and then overall work our way towards retention of these employees. I think retention is a very long tail benefit, and it's unlikely for us to make like a huge early impact there. A lot of that is life circumstances and the nature of the role. But we do think we can make the job less painful. So these are just a few screenshots of where our early product is today. You could imagine, for those who are using Claude or ChatGPT, imagine like super specific, integrated with very niche systems, ChatGPT that can go take actions for you. So create a work order on my behalf, go send this resident a message, schedule a tour, those kinds of things. The two of us, I've been in the prop tech world for about 4 years, and I found this problem at a company called Updater. I've been annoyed since that role about the way tech works in this industry. So when it came to starting my own thing, this is the thing I couldn't stop thinking about. I built a resident onboarding product, which really amounts to it's the way people moved into their buildings. And so that got me in front of hundreds of leasing teams, the biggest people in this industry. It got me really excited about the space. It's super communal. I like the people. My co-founder actually came by way of someone I'm sure a lot of you know, which is David Engel. It's his old head of product and engineering. And the two of us have been working very well together ever since sort of just brainstorming on what we were going to spend our time on about a year ago. He is in Boulder, Colorado right now. I'll see if I can convince him to get here though. We have sort of a well-rounded advisory panel otherwise. Mike Corliss is the CEO of a very large property management business and like ownership group in Washington. Jenna is the VP of Customer Experience at Bozzuto, which is I think number 11 in the top 50 property managers in the country. I knew her from my previous role. Drew, some of you may know as well, local to Maine, started and sold Wyzant. So on the kind of education and training side of things, super helpful. Jackson is David Engel's old co-founder and just a tech advisor for my co-founder. And then Jake is sort of our well-rounded, knows every VC kind of just tech advisor. So progress, found a problem, found some design partners. We're making progress in getting our first product deployed. We just raised some money backed by a handful of pretty exciting founders, and Andreessen Horowitz Scout Fund, and Better Tomorrow Ventures is our lead. I just put this here to kind of show you the kinds of things we're working on. If you have more questions, I can spend time on that, but I figured I'd leave a little time for questions. And also my biggest ask of this group, if you have any of these introductions, I'd love to meet every property management firm on the planet within this range. I would say above 1,000 units is where it starts to get interesting. At least 50 employees. The bigger the company gets, the more painful these problems become. So our sweet spot right now is at least 2,000 units, under 5,000 units, because it's a faster process. But I'll take any intro to any property management firm above a certain size. The second ask is, if you know any incredible engineers, we're not ready to hire yet, but when we add to our team, we want to make sure we have a longer standing relationship with the person. Would love any kind of connections you all have. And then if there's anyone building in the space that you think is worth connecting to, just let me know.
Awesome. Thanks so much, George, and congrats on taking the plunge.
Thank you. Yeah, feels good.
Any questions for George? And again, go ahead, Gage.
George, is this you focusing on residential or commercial or both?
Multifamily residential above all. It's the space where these problems are the most pronounced. Interested in scattered site, single family, as well as built to rent communities as well. So long as they're at least big enough to have like full-time staff.
Okay.
Other questions?
I have a quick
Just checking
question.
to see it. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you tell me more about your ideal customer type?
Yeah.
You mentioned size and stuff.
Yes, property management firms that manage at least 1,000 units. The easiest people for me to connect with are people who own and operate those units, because you're selling to one person, not two. Third-party management companies have to pass that along to their ownership group as well. That said, I need to learn how to sell to those people too, so I'm happy to connect with them. But yeah, at least 1,000 units under management, ideally approaching 100 employees and above.
Any thoughts
All
on
right.
making?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just any thoughts on making it for smaller size organizations?
It's too painful a sale for too small a contract. So it's currently, the unit economics just don't really work. Eventually with self-service, perhaps, but not near term.
Awesome. Well, thank you, George. And if you want to, same thing with everyone, if you want to post your contact info in the chat in case folks have more questions, that would be great.
Awesome. Will do. Thanks.
Appreciate you presenting. And then our last presenter is Dan over at MITC. And yeah, excited to hear your presentation, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Tom, for inviting. I appreciate it. I see some familiar faces. I see some new faces. My name is Dan Berger. I'm the director of Maine's North Atlantic Development Office. I work out of the Maine International Trade Center here in Portland. I'll give you a little overview of what the Trade Center does writ large. So we're a public-private partnership funded in part through DECD, company members and sponsors, and then as well SBA federal grant funding. Our primary mission is to increase Maine's global competitiveness. We do that through a variety of different program strategies, including consultations with businesses looking to expand or improve their global presence. We do that through funding and grants that small grants through that allow for in-market activity or market expansion preparation. So website development, certifications, trade shows, etc. We also do that support our clients across the state in education. So we have 2 primary programs, but many different events throughout the year. One is new to export. So we're targeting companies that have no previous strategy or experience in exporting products or working internationally. And that's a 4-session, 10-hour kind of a boot camp where you develop a strategy in conjunction with an experienced set of consultants in a cohort. So there's this cross business sharing, but you also have the expertise of the consultants. And then we also run a longstanding export tech, and that's for organizations that have already developed a strategy or are currently exporting and are looking to expand that growth. Excuse me. I don't know if that cleared it or not, but we'll see. And then the other thing we do is we develop networks within Maine, but also globally. So upcoming, we have several different events. We've been hosting sector spotlights. We have 2 coming up, one on the outdoor recreation industry, and then one on the blue economy, and we'll have a few more throughout the year. We also have Trade Day coming up in May, and that's a celebration of Maine's international business experiences and successes of the year, and that'll be held at the LOB new global headquarters. So a little bit more specifically, the work that I'm doing is targeting a geography that Maine identified about 15 years ago, which is Atlantic Canada to Finland. It coincided with the introduction of AIMSCIP's U.S. headquarters in the International Marine Terminal. I am about a year and a half into the role. I come from a product development background in a variety of consumer products and software. And I'm new to the economic development world per se. So I've taken the last year really understanding where the opportunities I think are in Maine through participation in the Maine Forest Bioproduct Tech Hub, the Blue Economy Task Force, and several other kind of platforms for strategy development. And where I've started to land is, how do we facilitate Maine's emerging and innovation companies, especially in our globally competitive natural resource-based industries. So thinking about, our forest and ocean economies and how do we both support and substantiate the existing supply chain and participants while at the same time developing new use cases, higher value add use cases for the products that we're harvesting and growing. And so that's brought me to a couple of different opportunities to support Maine's emerging and startup participants. And that's really around identifying global funding sources for Maine startups in these kind of bioproduct and bioinnovation spaces. So I've started to map investors in the forest bioproduct space that are already investing globally in these types of businesses. It means connecting Maine startups in these spaces to global resources partners, technical partners, and potentially new markets. And we have several different existing relationships in Finland, in Sweden, in the UK, but then also more broadly outside of the North Atlantic arc. And then it also is really providing strategic insights into the market here. So what's happening in the bioproduct space? So mapping, global companies and global investors to give our businesses and our strategic leaders insight into how is innovation taking shape in these? Who are the companies that are innovating? What markets are they going after, and what investments are they attracting, so that we can either identify gaps or identify areas as a community that we want to make investments in. So I'd encourage you all to reach out if you're interested in expanding new businesses into new markets, or if you're interested in learning more about supporting global connections for our innovation and startup ecosystem. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dan. Questions for Dan? Joe, I see you went off mute.
I'd be the first guy to always ask the question, but
Hey,
Dan,
Joe.
in comparison to what Eric was talking about, I would always refer people, MITC for market research, especially international and things like that. Contacting, market leaders in certain markets. Do you and Eric, DCD, still do that? Like DCD's doing?
Yeah, so we do a variety of services related to that. So we also conduct market research. We have a number of different both internal and external resources that could answer questions about market opportunities or distribution partner potential. So we do field questions and provide one-on-one consultations for companies statewide, and we have those resources. So similar to what Eric was describing, but we are focused on the international component of that market opportunity. And then was there a second part to that question? Sorry, I heard the research part, but I think I forgot the second.
Do you still need to be a MITC member?
No, so as a part of our mission, we're here to service all Maine companies. We primarily focus on small and medium-sized businesses. Most of our clients are under 25 employees, and so some of the funding has requirements related to small business administration regulations. Maine-based, small and medium-sized businesses relative to their the market that they're participating in. So it can vary if you're manufacturing or law, and then in business for more than a year. So that does limit some of the funding opportunities, but it doesn't limit the services that we can provide related to finding international partners or doing research or other types of global market interactions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
Thanks, Dan. And thanks, Joe, for the question. Probably have time for maybe one more question if anybody has one. I'm looking to see. Okay, I don't think I see any more questions. Well, Dan, thanks so much for presenting, and I see you posted in the chat. So thank you for that, and thanks to everybody who presented. A number of things were posted in the chat during the course of the meeting, so I just wanted to summarize some things that folks should have on their radar. So last month we had a presentation from Innovate for Maine, the fellowship program. Just a reminder, the deadline for that is February 23rd. So what would that be? The 23rd is Sunday, so just a few days from now. But again, it's a great opportunity if you're looking to get some bright Maine affiliated students to work with your company. We have the Startup Maine Happy Hour coming up next Tuesday. And then, let me see, Lisa, did you have something you wanted to mention in relation to MCE?
Yes, so Lisa Liberatore here. I'm excited to announce that I'm the regional coordinator for the Bangor area. I was so fortunate to have found Top Gun 10 years ago and to help create a licensing agreement for Lisa's Legit Burritos, which is still going strong, and had the opportunity to run it the following year. So it's nice to be back. And we'll have our first in Orono meeting next Wednesday. So super excited to help those entrepreneurs.
Great, thanks, Lisa, and congrats. We have 1 minute left. Any announcements for the group from other folks that have been missed?
Tom, where are we? Last month when Matt Hoffner was here, he was seeking input for the Life Science Incubator RFP. Is that still stuff you're seeking feedback for? And do you have an update on when that might be released?
Great question that I haven't heard anything internally on that. Abby or Emily, unless you have, I can definitely reach out, Joe, and try to get some more info and send it your way. But I haven't heard any updates beyond what Matt shared last month. But I'm happy to follow up, and I can get back to you on that.
And the $25 million bond RFP?
Yeah, it's still being worked on. I think the exact criteria on that. I'm hoping as soon as we have policies. So we've actually got a few things in the works at MTI. One is that we're also looking at a potential ecosystem funding competition for partner organizations who might want to apply for some grant funding through MTI. And as soon as we have like tangible updates on either of those, I'm planning to dedicate some time at these meetings to fill folks in. So definitely both on the R&D bond and on that ecosystem grant. As soon as we have details, we'll share that with the group.
Nothing like money to bring people to MxG, I'll tell you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just dangle it. Well, thank you everybody for joining today. Lisa and Emily Braley, if you want to stay on the call real quick. Lisa, I know you had a question for Emily, and for everybody else, thank you so much. It was great to see everybody, and I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Take care all.